Welcome back to the channel. If you're preparing for an infrastructure as code developer interview, especially one that involves Terraform, DevSecOps, Ansible, and cloud platforms like Azure, then this video is your blueprint for success. Today, we're diving into real-world interview questions and expert answers based on a recent job description that requires Terraform, Ansible, PowerShell, DevOps, and full-stack knowledge on both Windows and Linux environments. This is a part 1 video of this series. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a crystal clear understanding of what hiring managers are really looking for and how to answer with confidence. So let's get started. Question 1. How have you used Terraform in your recent projects? Answer. In my last role, I used Terraform extensively to provision infrastructure across AWS and Azure. I created reusable modules to deploy IIS servers, configure load balancers, and set up VPCs. I also integrated Terraform with TFE, Terraform Enterprise pipelines to ensure consistent deployments and collaborated with teams to write and review HCL code. Question 2. How do you ensure consistency and compliance when using Ansible for configuration management? Answer. I maintain version-controlled Ansible playbooks using Git, enforce roles and tags, and use Ansible Vault for securing secrets. I also leverage dynamic inventory for both RHEL and Windows hosts. Compliance checks are built in using custom playbooks that validate against security baselines. Question 3. Describe a time you automated Windows infrastructure. What tools did you use? Answer. I automated the provisioning of Windows Server 2019 using PowerShell scripts integrated into BladeLogic workflows. This included setting up IIS, configuring security baselines, and pushing patches. For repetitive tasks like user provisioning and service monitoring, I created scheduled scripts managed via CI/CD. Question 4. How do you handle configuration drift in a multi-cloud environment? Answer. To manage drift, I schedule Terraform plan checks and Ansible runs as part of nightly Jenkins pipelines. Any drift is flagged, reviewed, and resolved via GitOps principles. I also use Terraform state locking and periodic audits to ensure our infrastructure matches the declared code. Question 5. What is your experience with DevOps release management across environments? Answer. I've led deployment automation using Jenkins and XL release, managing releases from DAV through PROD. For .NET applications hosted on IIS, I used blue-green deployment strategies and handled middleware dependencies such as app pools and certificates. My DevOps pipelines also included quality gates using SonarQube and custom PowerShell health checks. Question 6. Have you worked in agile teams and how did you contribute to sprint planning? Answer. Yes, I've worked in agile teams for over 5 years. In sprint planning, I estimate IaC and automation tasks, identify dependencies across infra and app teams, and break stories into manageable subtasks. I also demo completed infrastructure stories to stakeholders. Question 7. How do you troubleshoot issues in a hybrid environment involving RHEL, Windows, and middleware like Tomcat or WebSphere? Answer. I use a mix of tools: PowerShell and Event Viewer on Windows, SSH and Journals TL on RHEL, and middleware logs from Tomcat or WebSphere. I correlate logs using ELK Stack or Splunk dashboards to pinpoint root causes and resolve them quickly. Now let's get down to the advanced level questions you could face if the job also includes leading teams, driving automation strategy, and working with enterprise architecture. Question 1. How do you use Terraform in a DevSecOps pipeline? Answer. I integrate Terraform with Jenkins and GitHub Actions to automate infrastructure provisioning in Azure. I use workspaces for environment separation and include Sentinel policies for compliance. I also store state in remote backends like Azure Storage and enable locking to avoid race conditions. Security checks are embedded via tools like TFSec or Checkov before any apply stage. Question 2. How do you balance security and speed in automated deployments? Answer. I apply the shift-left principle, embedding security scans early in the CI/CD pipeline. Using GitHub as the source of truth, pull requests trigger scans for secrets, misconfigurations, and policy violations. For example, I set up automated security scans on Terraform code with TFSec, and Ansible playbooks go through pre-run syntax checks and policy validations. Question 3. How do you lead a team of IaC developers effectively? Answer. I prioritize knowledge sharing and reusable patterns. I conduct bi-weekly internal demos, create centralized IaC module libraries, and review all pull requests with a focus on code quality and DRI principles. I also promote mentoring by assigning juniors to shadow seniors during complex deployments, and I use retrospectives to improve our agile delivery. Question 4. How do you align IaC solutions with business and security requirements? Answer. I collaborate early with enterprise architects, risk, and compliance teams to ensure what we build meets both policy and operational needs. For example, when rolling out Azure Kubernetes clusters with Terraform, I worked with security to integrate Azure policy, key vault, and logging from day one, reducing rework and improving trust across teams. Question 5. What's your experience teaching IaC skills to application teams? Answer. I've led Terraform and Ansible workshops to upskill app teams. We start with hands-on labs, provisioning VMs or configuring IaC Tomcat, and then transition into best practices like parameterization and modularization. I also build internal wikis and reusable templates to enable self-service. So in question 6, how do you ensure Terraform code is scalable and maintainable across projects? Answer. I use modules for every major component: networking, compute, IAM, and enforce naming standards. I keep variables centralized in docked EFVARS files and write README docs with examples. For maintainability, I leverage versioned modules and a dedicated CI pipeline to validate breaking changes. Question 7. Can you give an example where you helped drive strategy or IT investment through infrastructure decisions? Answer. In a previous role, I introduced Terraform to replace manual ARM templates across cloud projects. This shift cut down provisioning time by 70% and allowed us to scale deployment efforts. I collaborated with finance to build a cost model showing how reusable IaC modules saved engineering hours, leading to a strategic investment in internal DevOps tooling. So, whether you're leading an IaC team or applying Terraform in enterprise-grade DevSecOps environments, these questions are a solid reflection of what top-tier companies are asking. If this helped you, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe for more DevOps and cloud interview prep, and drop a comment if you want deep dives on Terraform modules, Azure automation, or real-time Ansible labs. Good luck on your next big interview, and go crush it.